You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver.
What the hell is that?
Podcast.
Well, it's that time of the week again. We're going to do a recording here of the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast. Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast. And as per usual, I am Ransom. Ransom is my name. Screaming is my game. And I'm going to be doing lots of that tonight because I have some things to say. But before we get to the things that I have to say, I do have this to say. Oh my heavens. Don't worry, folks. It's not on the recording. What's he talking about? I don't know. It's not on the recording. Poot and I have sat down. We've had a discussion. And we decided that if there was an adequate amount of pleading, groveling, begging, and gifts given to us by Tom and Beef, we would be gracious enough to let them back on the podcast. And there was plenty of groveling, plenty of pleading, plenty of begging. Some butts were shown. May have been theirs, may have been mine. You'll never know. But we finally came to an amicable agreement. The four of us are back together again. However, there's just two of us on right now. So, all that is said, it makes no sense. Because Ransom and Reef, and Reef are here. Ransom and Beef, Ransom and Reef, we're here today tonight, to now, to talk to you. Because Poot's doing things, running some errands. Tom's doing things, running some errands. They will allegedly be on later. The future is uncertain. But what is certain is Beef is here, Ransom is here, and we're here to give you lovin's, snuggles, cuddlins, and talk to you graciously and gently about wrestling. Right?
No,
right?
I'm not going to be gentle.
Oh my.
You don't always have to fuck 'em hard. Yes,
oh my.
I am going to do that tonight because I'm really pissed off.
Listen, if we...
Yes. Man.
Let's first off start out by addressing the folly
The fact that Poot was like, hey, I'll be back in like 10 minutes, and it took him 5 minutes to leave his house. I agree. Let's address that first.
Nope. Something different.
Okay. Sorry.
Let's address the folly of the one who is known as the mid-card maniac. What are you laughing at?
Myself, you, a combination of both, the lack of Poot. All of this is funny to me.
The lack of Poot. Anyway, the mid-card maniac has been shown the door. We have a new Cruiserweight champion, and we have some updated Cruiserweight tats for this quarter. Would you like to address that?
Absolutely. I want to start by giving Pat his due.
Don't.
I'm going to do it because I've spent a lot of time railing on him and giving him the business and, telling him how terrible he is.
Serving you.
He did his best to try and walk out a quarter two with that title on his shoulder still. He did not. But he made a very, very hard case for it. So, I'll run him bottom to top. And I apologize. I've been out of town last week. We had some business to take care of the week prior. It's been an insane, emotional roller coaster, hurricane roller coaster the last 3 weeks. But we're here. It's now. We're at the top of the peak. Everything's great for the most part. So, all that being said, I apologize for not being here to announce sooner, but here are your standings for quarter 2, which ended with Forbidden Door. But Beef, didn't Forbidden Door happen like a week ago? Mm-hmm. And wasn't Money in the Bank, what was 2 weeks ago? Mm-hmm. Wasn't Money in the Bank like last week? Mm-hmm.
Money in the
Aren't
Gang.
you going to, why are they separate? Because I say so. Anyway, here are your quarter 2 standings and who is on top. I lost them. There they are. In the bottom,
Oh.
where he likes it, is Ransom
Oh.
with 122.
Oh.
Poot and his crazy picks are at 130. I love Poot's methodology because he is a showman and he understands that it's not a good episode if we're all like, yep, I agree with that. So he tries to cast dispersion at the cost of winning the Cruiserweight title. And despite being one of the longest reigning, he has not held that title for a minute. Poot, when you hear this, when you hear this on recording, buddy, it's okay if you want to choose something that's reasonable and not crazy, and actually try to win. Anyway, Poot's at 130. Was at 130. Amber was 2 points ahead of Poot at 132. Hey, surprise, surprise! She had a cataclysmic undoing, as is her wont.
A cataclysmic undoing.
As
fantastic.
That's her MO every month. And God bless her for being a great sport. But man, pick better. Dave had 138. Tom clawed his way back into the thick of things at 139. Ooh. I was sitting at 144, which is comfortably between second place and the back half of the division and the top. Pat came in at 148, 4 better than me. And your new Cruiserweight champion is Jimmy of Dos Hermanos Luchas with 156 points.
Wow.
Great work, Jimmy. Congratulations.
Ooh.
Love to see that title getting passed around. Now, there is, yes. Now, there is another pay-per-view that happened over the weekend as well. The past weekend, Money in the Bank, which we'll talk about. Current standings. At the bottom this time is everybody's favorite wacko, Poot Bard.
Wacko.
Poot, buddy, I love you, but I didn't listen to last week's episode. I know I'm a bad friend, but it's been crazy.
Fucking rude.
Did he put like 7 points on the Money in the Bank ladder match or something with LA Knight? I feel like he did.
I can't remember, to be honest.
I feel like that's a Poot thing to do. Like to take a match that has like 15 people in it.
I mean, he picked LA Knight, but I don't know that he put like his big money pick on that. I don't
somewhere
think
he lost his money because he's at 13 points.
Oh.
Yeah, not the best foot forward. Ransom has 15 points.
Oh.
Still absolutely in it. Amber is at 18 points, so she doesn't have as far to fall this month or this quarter. Ryuk is back, baby, with the 18 points as well. Dave is sitting at a brisk 19 points. Our current reigning defending Cruiserweight champion sits at 19 points. Jimmy at 19. Your current Cruiserweight champion, that's right, I'm still calling myself that because I'm bitter and vindictive. I'm at 21 points. And Tom, don't call it a comeback or an uppercut apparently, is at 22 points. So, it's a hot start to the quarter. We're all bunched up. We got SummerSlam on the horizon. We got All In on the horizon. And I think that's it for quarter 3. I don't know.
2 more? That's it?
Maybe.
Listen, I need to ask a serious question.
Cards up that you change.
Are you ready?
Maybe all that's going to be part of it. Anyway, let's go on.
All right. So, serious question. And I've been thinking about this in earnest since
Wait, goes to camp or is in the
No.
army?
is
Scared-
John Cena.
Go straight. Oh no, no.
Oh,
Go on.
on.
Ba-ba-da-ba-da.
Since you posted the stats in the group chat, I've been thinking about this. Why am I still on this podcast?
That's not fair.
It's horse crap to you, sir. It is clear that I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to wrestling. Look at the past. Look at 2013. Look at 2023 and 2022. Like overall as a whole. I have no business being on a wrestling podcast because it's clear I don't know what I'm talking about. I have been bottom half or the bottom two, I think, for a year straight. I'm the opposite of Roman Reigns. I'm the anti-Roman Reigns. He's been on top for a very long time. I have been nowhere near the top for a very long time. I'm honestly concerned that I'm going to be voted off of this podcast.
Bum-ass Ransom. Listen, man, that's how the
What did you say?
I said bum-ass Ransom.
Oh,
Like bum-ass Corbin. Listen, first of all, that was the criminally underrated, underused angle that I missed. That you are at the beginning of a wonderful comeback story is what you're at the beginning of.
I'm second to last.
At present, sure.
Okay.
But you're only 7 points out of the top. SummerSlam's gonna have probably 10 matches. All In's gonna have probably 7 to 10 matches. All Out's probably gonna have 8 to 10 matches. So I mean, it's absolutely. And even if it's not quarter 3, maybe it's quarter 4. Maybe it's quarter 1 of 2024. Maybe you will usher in the era of Ransom in 2024.
2024 is the year of Ransom.
Listen, man, here's the thing. Being able to pick matches has no bearing on your wrestling IQ. Because I think people with wrestling IQ wouldn't book the way the WWE books. Now, I say that like it's a backhanded compliment, but it's not. WWE is the worldwide leader in sports entertainment for over 50 years. All right?
Oh.
For over 50 years, the worldwide leader in sports entertainment.
Oh.
They're clearly doing something right. AEW Collision, which I think is the best wrestling show on TV today, is losing droves of fans by the episode.
Why?
Debuted at 1 million. Second week fell to 500K. Third week fell to 450K.
All right, you can I ask you to go into that in more detail? Like,
absolutely.
Why? What is happening? Why is it dropping so rapidly?
Well, because of what I said from the get-go. You could put Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock on Collision every week, guaranteed. And I don't think you'd break 1.5 million.
Is it the day? Is it the day it's on?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, no.
Saturday nights are not all right for fighting. It is never been good. The taped collisions aren't helping. That's first and foremost.
Oh, are they not all live? Are some of them live?
I think the last couple have been taped because of Canada. The sales in Canada for Collision haven't been great. I can't explain why. Other than people are like, fuck that CM Punk guy. Which is a very real thing that could be happening.
Really, though? Really?
People, oh yeah, man. Like, he is the absolute biggest hot button thing on in wrestling today. Like, you either love CM Punk or you hate him. There is no one that's in the middle that's like, yeah, he's okay. You are either a ride or die for CM Punk, guilty, or you're a go away CM Punk. Like, there's no in between. So
okay, no, never mind. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't believe that that's the contingent, because there's no way that show would have, drew almost 1 million the first episode and then lost half the next episode, especially because the first episode was fire. You know what's happening? People are DVRing it and watching it on Sunday, or watching it on Monday, or watching it on Tuesday, because ratings don't take into account DVRs, recordings, streams, anything like that. That is why the one site that did a lot of the rating stuff shut down, because it's archaic, and you can't go by oh well, we drew a we drew a 1.3 and a 700 in the demo. Like, you can't go by that anymore, because it's 2023. How don't have a better system than a fucking Nielsen box is beyond me. I don't even know if that's still a thing. If there are still Nielsen box families, or if there are, like, higher metrics. But, like, that system is still.
You want to know why?
I'll be damned.
Let me talk to you a minute.
Yeah.
I just wanted to announce that I have arrived.
Yes.
So are we talking about the metrics for Collision?
We are.
Okay.
Yeah, I forget how we got on here, but we're here now, so that's what's important.
We got here by talking about me not understanding how I have any reason being on a wrestling podcast.
Right.
Because I'm constantly in last or next to last place.
My point with that,
you're not in last this time, big boy.
Give me a minute, I'll get there.
Collision is basically a wrestling smart mark dream.
Cool.
It is. We're getting CM Punk versus Samoa Joe on the 4th episode. Like, this is a feud that carried Ring of Honor through like 3 years, and we're getting it on episode 4.
And it was slow burn shit. That was like, it was like their feud, and like how it ramped up.
House of Black is on Rampage, or on Collision. Miro's on Collision. So much good, entertaining. Will Hobbs, Ricky Starks, the Bullet Club, all great. Smart marks love them. Well, yeah, this is the show. Can't draw over 500,000. And my point with all this is that even this is not Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will not come. They might tape it, they might stream it, they might catch updates of it on their favorite app, and then they'll probably go to Reddit and bitch about it 20 minutes later. And again, like, this is, I think, arguably the best show on TV, the best wrestling show on TV, wrestling-wise. Tony's a okay booker. He's getting. I don't know. I honestly don't know if Tony Khan's getting better or worse. But, like, he's putting together a fun wrestling show. But just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. So my point, Ransom, is that just because you can't pick wrestling shows, wrestling premium live events, and pay-per-views, doesn't mean you don't know about wrestling. You do. You know an incredible amount about wrestling. And you understand, a lot of the ins and outs of it.
And history.
None of us are.
A lot of history.
Oh, my God, history. Oh, my God.
Oh, shucks. It's all right, fellas. I'm a dummy, and I know it. Listen. About Rampage.
Collision?
Yeah, that's the one.
Concerning
Did they
Collision.
have one concerning Collision? Did they have one last Saturday during Money in the Bank?
Yes.
Oof.
Yeah. That
might have, impacted their numbers a little bit.
Probably. Well, what time did Money in the Bank wrap up?
Yeah, well, huh?
No, Money in the Bank was over by 8.
Oh, that's right, because it was in London.
So, like, it probably SummerSlam's gonna hurt. And college football is gonna fucking gut them.
Dang! I always forget about college football because I don't sports as a semi-male individual.
And the 8 o'clock window game is always like the primetime ESPN ABC game.
Yep.
So like.
Oh no.
Yeah. I just don't understand why. I don't know. Like,
what's the logic there? Basically,
it seems destined for failure. Tony's like, the network's like, hey man, we love AEW. Here's a new slot, and they crap in their hand. And Tony's like, I thought you said you loved it. He's like, yeah, we do. Make us rich, but how? Turn this poop into gold.
I mean,
wrestling has never fared well on Saturday nights, ever.
No.
Ever. And it never will.
Well, no, back in the territory days, it did.
A local independent wrestling fares well on Saturday nights because it gets you out of the house. It's an event to go to. Televised wrestling, when do we hang out? Do we hang out on Sunday nights? No, because everybody's got to fucking work on Monday. We hang out on Saturday nights because no one has to work on Sunday, except for my wife, and she guts through it because she is amazing. Otherwise, that's why we hang out on Saturday nights, is because and that's everybody. People are like, man, my fucking job sucks. I'm going to the bar. Like, hey, let's get away for the weekend. No one's like, hey, I want to sit at my house expressly for the purpose of watching wrestling. You may be there to relax, to enjoy time with family, playing video games, etc. But your primary reason is not to watch Collision. If I'm home, absolutely, I'll have an eye on it. I
was home.
I watched the first episode. I was a good boy. I closed up the laptop and I gave it my entire focus, and I was rewarded with a great show. Second show, I think I was on my laptop about 30 or 40 minutes into it, finishing something up because I felt less compelled. Third show, I missed altogether because I was out of the country, or had just come back into the country. My point here remains is that it's a death knell, and regardless of how good of a show that they put together, and make no mistake about it, they are putting together an incredible show. That slot, 8 p.m. on a Saturday night, is a death knell. That's why every other network in the universe runs fucking Marvel movies all day, or Disney movies, or, fucking Yellowstone, or like reruns of some shit that happened in the early 2000s, because the weekends are pot shots, man. And when football comes back, that's what the weekends are for. College and NFL.
So, a couple questions. Would you say that Collision is a better show than Dynamite?
Yes.
Wow. By a decent margin or just squeaking by?
It took me no time to say yes. I like that there aren't a lot of, convoluted bullshit storylines. It's people going out there and wrestling. And yes, there are some squashes for sure, but you get wrestling on Collision. There's not a lot of hemming and hawing. There's not a lot of fucking stupid shady finishes. You get wrestling on Saturday nights.
So what's AEW's other show?
Rampage,
and that's on Fridays?
Yes. Which is not a great spot either.
Oh. I was going to ask, do you think Collision would do better if they swapped it with Rampage?
No, because then you're either up against SmackDown in the exact same time window, or you start at 10 o'clock and go to midnight.
Yeah.
Or you start at 6 o'clock and lead into SmackDown, which, again, I don't think is a win either. There's no right answer other than put it on Tuesdays, or put it on Mondays, or put it on Thursdays.
It's I was going to say the problem with AEW is it's almost like it's getting paradoxical, because we've been saying for a long time they need more shows, they need or longer shows. They need this because they have such a deep talent roster. But anytime that you think about when are they going to put a show, they're boxed out in some way, shape, or form, or they have to Sisyphus push a boulder up a hill. Like that's just how it is. And that's the thing, is that obviously we're sitting here and like the first thing that comes to my mind of how to solve this paradox is maybe reduce their roster a little bit. But the problem is they have so much absolute golden talent, both legacy talents like a CM Punk, like a Christian, and to current stars like an Adam Cole. And I'll even say it. I know he's in the same, bracket as those other guys, but like you have Samoa Joe, you have the entire House of Black, you have
the Guns.
The Guns.
The Guns have come a long way.
Oh yeah, the Guns, the Acclaimed, the Lucha Brothers. You have all these things, and then you have the up and comers like Jungle Boy, and like not up and comers, but the young blood. They cover the whole gamut of this, and it's all awesome. But they don't. It's like they don't know what to do with it because they don't have the time, because they don't have the space, because they don't have the ideal place like Wednesday Night Dynamite to do the thing.
Well, and they do have the space though. Like that's the thing. Like Collision gives them that blank canvas.
No, I know that, but
it's a full 2-hour show. The problem is they need to get off fucking Saturday night. I don't care if they go Tuesday nights against NXT. I don't care if they go Thursday nights against fucking Impact. And I don't know why networks avoid Thursday night. But like I think SmackDown was on Thursday night for a cup of coffee once. But other than that, like
started on Thursday nights.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So like I don't understand why it's fucking taboo. Like Mondays are sacred. Like you don't take a run at the champ. You just don't. Otherwise you're gonna end up like Impact, where they got too big for their britches and they fucking tried to take on Raw, and they got shoved down the fucking gullet of a fucking Sarlacc. So like you can't do Mondays. That's out of the question. But that still leaves Tuesdays against NXT, which is the battle that they've won already.
Oh yeah.
Wednesdays you can't do, obviously, because they have Dynamite. Or Thursdays. So like Tuesdays or Thursdays I think will be prime real estate. And like if I'm Tony, I'm going to the fucking WB and I'm like, listen, man. And so that's the other thing, is that this whole thing is still, I think, very tenuous with the whole like Nat Geo Discovery takeover of WB. Like I think things are still kind of on spaghetti legs, and I don't think he wants to upturn the apple cart. I think he wants to appreciate what he's been given, but at the same time, I think that he needs to be in their ears and be like, listen, we have beaten NXT on the ratings before, so much so that they went to a different night. Give me Tuesdays.
I'm almost like, I have so many questions. I really do have so many questions about this. Like, I wonder, were they not given, was AEW not given any options? Like, was the network basically like, hey, you guys can take this crappy Saturday slot, or you could take nothing. So take it or leave it. I can't imagine Tony would be like, you know what? Sign me up for a Saturday night slot.
No, absolutely not.
Like that doesn't sound like him. I'm almost wondering if the network was like, hey, this is what we can give you. We can't do anything else. So if you want another show, you can take this. If not, farm
And
off.
again, I think that the predecessors, and I forget exactly how big of a changeover happened at the top. I know that I think the president was gone, but like, I think the predecessors before Nat Geo came in was like, yeah, man, we love AEW, we love the live sports, we love, we love your product. Give us more of it. We want to get you on another show. And so I think those wheels were in motion before the merger. And when Nat Geo came in, they said and they did all the right things. They were like, "Oh yeah, no, yeah, great. AEW is great. It's a great to have you on our net, on our core of network.
On their
we're happy
team.
to have you. Right. We're happy to have you. Thanks for being here for us." But at the same time, are like, it's almost like whenever oh fuck, what was it? Somebody said to Turner in the '90s or Vince in the '90s, like, "Nah, we don't want pro wrestling. It's not going anywhere." It feels almost like that, where they're like, "Okay, yeah, we'll give you a shot. We will stay. We will keep our agreement and let you have your third show on a Saturday night." It's almost like a monkey's palm. So I don't know, man. Like, and again, like, as someone who has watched a few episodes of Collision, I can tell you that they're enjoyable. They're fun. I wouldn't say appointment viewing, but like, I think if you're not doing anything else on a Saturday night, fuck it, man, put it on. It's fun to watch. And it's, again, probably my favorite wrestling show on TV.
So that was question one. Question two: do you think back-to-back nights of an AEW show would be detrimental? Like, do you think one show would get? Do you think it would tear the audience a little bit? Like, well, look, we've got Collision on Tuesday, Dynamite Wednesday. I'm not gonna watch both. So I'm gonna pick one to watch because I'm gonna hang out with my friends, or I'm gonna do a podcast, or I'm gonna play Among Us, or I'm gonna play video games with my buddies, or I'm gonna hang out with my wife or my husband or whoever. Like, do you think it would be detrimental to have back-to-back shows, and that maybe that's why they don't have a Tuesday Wednesday or a Wednesday Thursday with their programming? Or do you think that's a moot point and it wouldn't really do a bit of darn good thing?
I mean, it's possible, but I think that at the same time, like, I think what's happening with wrestling right now is kind of the same thing that happened with the MCU. Fatigue. Like it was hot and it was great and it's still good. Like, that's the thing, it's still good. But like, it was like a frog on a hot plate, baby. Like, for a while there, it was NXT was on fire, AEW was on fire.
Strong competition.
Right. There was talk of Raw and SmackDown even starting to get better, even before the fucking Vince stuff. Like, they were heading in the right direction. Everything was kind of coming up Millhouse, and then like it just got to be too much. We have Raw Mondays, NXT Tuesdays, Dynamite Wednesdays, Impact Thursdays, SmackDown, Rampage Fridays, Saturdays Collision, Saturday PLEs, Sunday AEW pay-per-views. Like,
it's saturated, man.
It is total saturation. So I think that plays a part in it as well. One of my good friends at work, big wrestling fan, and we bond about that. He has said many times that he just can't, like, as much as he appreciates AEW and WWE and NXT, like, there's just too much wrestling. It's hard to maintain a fandom and a life and work 40 hours a week and be married or have a significant other or have children or have nieces and nephews or want to do anything else in your life. It's hard to kind of settle that.
Extracurricular activity, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Sorry. So, like, even me, who tries to watch as much wrestling as I can in a given week, it's always secondary. Unless it is a pay-per-view that I have paid for, it is always secondary. Some premium live events I will, like, WrestleMania, SummerSlam. Like, I'll set up and take notice. If it's a good card, Money in the Bank. Sorry, guys. Money in the Bank, I probably would have watched start to finish had I not been in an airport for fucking 6 hours, 8 hours,
Ugh.
10 hours. Had I not been stuck in an airport, I probably would have watched that start to finish. Had I had fucking Damian Priest not won on the initial match, and I was like, nope, fuck this, I probably would have continued to watch it for longer. So, but, like, for the most part, like, wrestling's always secondary. In some cases, it's fucking tertiary. In some cases, I'm sitting here playing a game on Discord with my buddies. Wrestling's on so that I have something that's on the background. So, like, yeah. And then again, you would be hard pressed to find a wrestling fan bigger than me these days. And I mean that in every way possible.
And still, like, I feel
Still
like
real to
it's.
me, damn it.
Oh, I feel like that is a very big shout out to the fact that it is saturated when you have somebody who is such a fervent fan, such as yourself, struggling to decide, like, am I going to have this on in the background? Am I actually going to pay attention to it? Like, I mean, that's a clear classic sign of oversaturation. Because if it wasn't oversaturated, if it was on one night a week, you would probably be watching it that one night a week, unless it was total and, unadulterated garbage.
I think we're in a different era too. Like, just like, with devices and, fucking computers and gaming systems. Like, there's so many things vying for your attention anymore. It's really hard unless you go into a movie theater and, like, everybody else has their phones off and you're, like, in that moment. It's really hard to kind of scrape together that kind of time. And it's sad. It really is.
Oh, yeah.
But that's, again, where we are, where I don't think that, you're going to get total attention paid. Even when we go to, our each other's houses to watch, pay-per-views or premium live events, like, our focus isn't necessarily on the television. It's on laughing and having a good time. And yeah, we're watching wrestling, but, like, we're not sitting there and, like, dissecting it.
No, there's plenty of conversation and fun, and it's not like we're sitting there in silence ignoring each other because our focus is, like, the main focus is the program.
Going to get to the kitchen to get more sushi,
Yeah.
But
so I guess, yeah, I don't know.
And again,
that's a little sad. It's a little sad to talk about how AEW finally got another show, and it's on a Saturday night, and it's just dropping in numbers every week, and it seems to be struggling. And
weekend, the other thing was last weekend was a holiday weekend, de facto holiday weekend too. So, like, I think that may have had an impact with it. And again, it was, even though it was not head to head with a premium live event, it followed a premium live event. And again, if you're one of those people who's trying to carve out as much time as they can for wrestling, but can't commit totally to it, like, oh, am I going to watch Money in the Bank or am I going to watch Collision? If you've only got room on your plate for one or the other, of course you're going to watch Money in the Bank.
It depends on the card. It depends on the card. Like,
That's fair. But like this past week, for example, like I don't even remember what the main event was. Oh, it was Samoa Joe and Roddy Strong. So it wasn't a terrible main event, but, like, this is Money in the Bank. So, like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like the numbers are probably due for a rebound. I think that they would be happy with anything over 600,000. I think if it hit on a Tuesday or a Thursday, it would probably be up over 750,000.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but that notwithstanding, it is what it is, and I'll try to continue to give it my viewership while I can, in hopes that just trying to support something and get a groundswell. So, speaking of groundswells,
oh, what a fucking adventure!
Man, I just gave you a hot intro, and you were like,
I wish I wish I had something to go off of better, but people make me question my faith in humanity in a general sense. That's all.
Fact.
Somebody went to Target.
No.
I'm
no.
joking. It's a joke.
I probably would have found better people there than the assholes I encountered.
Oh.
Anywho.
So
yeah, Wrestle
going
Talks.
on, yeah, let's stick with that. How has, I guess, CM Punk's been received since his return? Has he wrestled on every Rampage or Collision? Or?
No. He did commentary last week, but it's which is something he's fucking great at too, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because I think the last time Samoa Joe and Roddy Strong faced off, not in NXT, he was a commentator for it in Ring of Honor, so it's pretty cool. A neat little callback. I mean, he's getting the reaction that you would expect him to get. Same as the Elite when they came back at Southern California, and they were heroes. You know, they got the heroes welcome. And then after they went elsewhere, they started getting a little bit of Bronx cheers here and there. At least until they really became entrenched in this thing with the Blackpool Combat Club. But they were kind of getting some boos.
Oh.
You know, and it's the same story with Punk, where he came out to shoot hot in Chicago. You know, heroes welcome. In Canada, it's 60-40, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, maybe.
I figured with
probably
him
closer
being
to 50-50.
such like a Bret Hart fanboy, like the Bret Hart fans would latch on to that and be like, oh, he's one of our guys, woohoo. Or, whatever Canadians do.
I mean...
Wow.
Yeah, I mean...
What are they going to do? Set fire to my... No, they already did that. There's fire everywhere.
Oh, God. I think that, Bret Hart is not endearing himself to many fans anymore, either.
What are you talking about? He's a genius.
Canadian hero, dang it.
And that's
At
kind
least he's
of
better than Ryback. Fuck him.
Accurate. But that's kind of like, if you... And I hate to fucking say this, but like if you follow the Bret Hart tree, like, you go from fucking Bret Hart to fucking CM Punk to, whoever the next generation of CM Punk's gonna be, like, can we expect the same like diva drama attitude? Maybe. Like the same, like, I am the best of my generation, prove me wrong, and everyone's like, yeah, but that's not fact. Like that's an opinion. That's a good opinion, but it's not a fact.
What do you mean that's not a fact? How dare you?
So like I'm worried that like that's gonna kind of be where FTR fall too. I just think that they're kind of smarter about what the things that they say. At least Cash is. Dax has a mouth on him, and he doesn't have much of a filter. So
nope.
I would not surprise me if they kind of like end up in that sort of arena at some point either.
Well, I mean, if they, yeah.
But again, right now, just like Bret Hart in his heyday, just like CM Punk circa like the mid 2000s to like the mid 20 teens, best in the world, can back it up. Right now, they're the best tag team in the world, can back it up. 15 years? Probably not. But like, if they're still active in 15 years, good for them.
Yeah.
But I just like, I think the bigger thing here is not that Punk is over or a face or a heel. It's the fact that Punk's getting reactions. When CM Punk comes out, no one's sitting in their fucking chairs. They're either cheering loudly or they're booing to let you know that they hate him. Like, and that is the John Cena effect.
Yeah.
Say what you will about John Cena.
Sorry.
He was never boring. He always had the people. He was always working the people, one way or the other.
Yeah,
We hated him because he was constantly pushed to the top, but he was always getting reactions.
It was, well, yeah, that's the thing is the worst thing, to borrow a term you used earlier, the death knell in wrestling is when the crowd goes mild.
Yep.
That is, dude, whenever anyone comes out and it's just nothing, that is like one of the most cringy things in the entire world, other than a trash bag wrestler on an independent show. Like, it is not when I say that, I mean the guy who comes out.
No,
and like
you don't have to defend it. I know what you were doing. I was just being dramatic.
But like it's that's the thing. And I will agree with you on the whole CM Punk thing. And the thing is, Punk can take whatever reaction that is, like John Cena, mind you, he can take any reaction he gets and spin it in his favor and make it like louder and louder and louder, whether it's cheers, whether it's boos. He's the fucking avatar of crowd reactions. He just knows they know how to manipulate it. And the best guys in the business do. Stone Cold did, The Rock did, Punk does, Cena does.
Jericho. Well, he's another one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He can have people in the palm of his hand. I love Punk because he hits the little fucking callbacks that don't matter to anybody else. For example, in his match with fucking Kojima, at one point he was in the corner doing like 5 lariats to Kojima, and he goes lariat, 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 Kojima, which is a throwback to some fucking RF video bullshit fucking shoot interview he did back in like 2005, where he was talking about Homicide calling up Gabe Sapolsky, the owner of Ring of Honor, pretending to be I don't remember. But basically, like, pulling out of a big match that the Ring of Honor had, and Gabe, like, the day of, and Gabe Sapolsky was, like, shitting his pants, and, like, it was CM Punk doing an impression of Homicide, because Homicide was supposed to wrestle Kojima at Ring of Honor that night, and, so it was basically a callback to that. Like, it's the little things. Triple H did that, too. It's the stupidest fucking things, but, like, when I see attention to that kind of detail, that makes me know that you get it. And that's what's frustrating about a guy like CM Punk, who is so good and fucking understands the meta, but, like, can't be bothered to put in the work. Can't be bothered to, like, fucking put aside his ego. That's what gets frustrating. Sorry, that was a tangent.
I think
it was a what now?
It was a tangent. I think he's time will still tell.
Don't say he's getting better.
Time will still tell if he gets better. He came back and he's holding the line. Mm-hmm. And I think having him running around with FTR is helping. I really do. I think having that they're almost like a buffer and a filter. They buffer what's coming into Punk, and they can kind of like, soften the blow of whatever's said. But then also whenever Punk says something, they can be a filter, which it's not their job, but you know what? Maybe that's what the man needs.
I mean, people have had that for years. Fucking all these rappers and shit have handlers that, like, handle them. They take care of them. They they exist as a literal buffer around them. So that people can't get close to them, so that they don't post stupid shit on fucking Instagram or whatever. So, like, yeah, absolutely. Like, FTR should not be CM Punk's babysitters, but if it's working, don't fucking break it.
The thing that they just have to be careful about is, and again, I'm going to what if this, but I'm not hoping. If Punk winds up having a meltdown again, FTR has to be, because they're not, like you said, Beef, they're not handlers. they're also wrestlers. So they have to maintain that division between handlers and wrestlers, because
separate business from pleasure.
Yeah, like if CM Punk starts going down a bad road, which leads to a self-destruction, FTR can try to negate or buffer that to a point, but there's going to have to be a point where if Punk's going down, they have to decide, are they going to abandon ship or are they going to go down with the ship? Because that's touchy, that's iffy, like, because if you have a guy that blows up in a bad way, you don't want to be the guy that's always right beside the guy that's self-destructing, because people are going to start looking at you like, well, what are you doing? Are you next? Are you helping or hurting? What are you doing? But again, that's all a what-if situation scenario. If having FTR with Punk keeps Punk far enough away from the grouch zone, as I'm going to be referring to it from here on out, then moot point, everything's going to be good. Because if they can keep him in that happy mindset, he's got some buddies, he gets ticked off at somebody, instead of going and blowing up in their face, he can vent to his buddies, get it out of his system, brush his hands off. All right, I'm good to go. That's the hope, right?
It is, exactly. And I know that we're getting long in the tooth, and I know that we have, now that we are at our full collective value,
peak of power,
we absolutely want to talk about Money in the Bank, because that's going to be a big deal. And we'll talk about that on the next show. But before we wrap this one up, I want to give a real quick shout out to fucking New Japan for doing the right thing, and finally, somebody of note finally put a title on Eddie Kingston. He beat Kenta to be, Kenta to be the I think the New Japan Strong heavyweight champion, which is kind of like the NXT of New Japan, but whatever. Like, it's still a fucking awesome accomplishment.
It's still better. You're still higher up on the food chain than somebody that doesn't have a title.
Right. Eddie Kingston's amazing, and for them to be the ones to say, well, fuck it, AEW. If you're not going to do it, we are absolutely going to do it. I'm excited to see what he's going to bring to the G1 Climax, and I think that he's going to be a lot of fun to watch in Japan. Also, breaking news as of like 5 hours ago, Fightful Select is reporting that Kota Ibushi is going to be the Elite team member of Blood and Guts. And that's pretty fucking exciting to me.
I like that.
Yeah. And most of the talent believe that he's going to join AEW in some capacity.
I'm here for it.
Absolutely, and it should have happened a long time ago, but I'm glad it's happening. If it happened, again, Fightful Select, a pretty good source. So, grain of salt, but I would be over the moon if we saw Kota Ibushi and the Elite come together for Blood and Guts. I think that's going to be an incredible match too. I'm shocked we're not getting it at All In, but that just means that I think that they got bigger plans at All In. So, other than that, boys, been a nice hour of talking. I think it's time that all good things must come to an end, and so much for my ranting. Poot, if you will.
Done.
It's terrible.